Hi, I'm Anne Marie, and you are listening to Achieve Spiritual, Holistic, and Self Improvement Radio. And today we're going to talk to a very interesting author. Her name is Tabbetha A Scott. She is an award winning international advisor, speaker, and author, a thought leader in electrical and human energy, and her area of expertise is leveraging principles of modern and ancient energy technologies to accelerate innovation, productivity, and development of personal potential. She led efforts in creating the world's largest solar powered community and was recognized for her innovations by the White House. In addition to earning a BS in finance, an MBA, and a master in bank management, Tabbetha was credited as a certified energy manager through the Association of Energy Engineers, in blockchain through MIT, and holds numerous certifications in human biofield therapy. A Kentucky native, she lives in Nashville, Tennessee. And please, you can visit www.poweringpotential.com. And there's a little hyphen between powering-potential.com to learn more about Tabitha's background and expertise, and maybe request an interview or book, as I am doing. Hey, Tabitha, how are you doing today?
Hey, Anne Marie, I'm so excited to be here with you today. I am great. How are you?
Good. Well, we both had a little bit of lighting and running around and doing all kinds of interesting things that nobody had to watch us do. And that just made it a very nice human experience. I always say a little bit of dysfunction always makes me feel comfortable. So,
Well, you'll get plenty of that here dealing
oh,
with
good,
me and
good.
multitasking between, the work-life balance and all things in between. So it's exciting.
You tell me about this book award you won, okay? Tell me about that. That sounds awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm very humbled and excited about the honor of receiving a Nautilus Award in May for my book, Trust Your Animal Instincts. And the award is issued to books that have positive social change to them. So winners are people like Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, the Dalai Lama, Lynn McTaggart, and people that I'm just such a huge fan of, and to even receive something that they have been, touched by as well. It's humbling, and it makes me very happy that people might be able to change their lives in a positive way. So my message is how to tap into your own energy, how to stay positive, and because we're made of energy, then we can tap into that source and it can help us at work, it can help us in our personal lives, but we all have access and it doesn't cost anything.
And is that what the common denominator of this book is?
It is, absolutely. And it talks about, I see myself as a bridge, Anne Marie, a bridge between woo woo, which people don't understand. And there's a certain, I'm trained in woo woo myself. I'm an
What
energy
is woo
healing.
woo? What is woo
It's
woo?
it's things people don't understand. So logic-minded people often
Mm.
refer to spirituality as, oh, that's woo-woo.
Oh,
That's
yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I
and
get it.
so my book is about it's a bridge that says it's not woo-woo, it's actually logical. It's waves, it's patterns, it's physics, it's science. And science, by the way, reinforces these spiritual practices and spiritual teachings. And it's incredible how the more I researched and the more I stepped into that energy, it explains things like resonance for uh, psychic abilities or resonance with sometimes the law of attraction is used. People will talk about that in various books. But I would see it through the lens of physics as you're in like resonance. You tend to sync up with waves that are like yours. And everything about our human behavior, if you have an idea, or like think about the politics scene, right? If somebody disagrees with you, then our energy is like that third law of dynamics, right? Of the third law of motion, which says equal and opposite reaction, and you cancel each other out. Where if you find those things that are in common and are already in motion, like we want people to be healthy, we want people to be able to provide for themselves. What are those things we can all get behind? Now you can add momentum behind them. And so it's these laws of electrical energy combined with this knowledge of spirituality and energy healing that say, hey, if we figure out this energy, then we can make our lives a lot better.
Explain to me what you mean by electrical energy and what's behind that
Yeah,
with the
electrical.
psychic ability.
Yeah, so electrical energy is just like the light in front of me here, or when you turn on a light switch, electricity flows through power lines. And people understand electrical energy, like if your battery goes dead on your car, you get some cables and you jump start it with another battery. And my point is our own energy, because we're made of energy ourselves, quantum science proves that, we need charging up. And think about so first in the literal electrical sense, you can do different modalities like perhaps Reiki or healing touch, ancient Hopi techniques where you use positive and negative polarity in your palms against chakra centers or energy centers in your body. So it's just like jump starting that car battery, literally. Or you can, think of your electric fields like your meridians and other things. So different traditions, like the Far East versus maybe a Hopi tribe, will use that electricity in different ways. And so it's literally electricity, but of our bodies that's doing it.
Tabitha, for those that don't understand the difference between meridians and chakras, could you explain that?
Yes, I will try, but I'm not an expert on that aspect of it. So, chakras are centers, and there are tens of thousands of them in the body, but you have some primary ones that go from right between your legs, your root chakra, up to your crown chakra at the top of your head. And these energy centers control the other things in your body. So think of it as your thermostat, or think of it as a series of batteries. And like if in your home, the living room is controlled by one battery and the kitchen is controlled by another battery, and the battery in the kitchen goes out, then you need to deal with that. And so that's how we are electronically, because we're electrical beings. If our heart chakra is closed or limited for some reason, it could be affecting things that go along with that. And so we have to recharge it.
It's interesting. This kind of gets away from the subject, but I was watching a paranormal show that said so many people believe that when they are around the electrical energy of what they believe to be the other side,
Mm-hmm.
and they wake up with scratches on
Mm-hmm.
specific parts of their body. She explained it. She says, that's not evil. That's
Mm-hmm.
not claw marks. That's your chakras. She says the other side is trying to communicate to you, and it's just going through the chakras of your body, and it's creating these little openings. So she says, if there's any way that your body can be a tool of resonance for animals or for people of the other side or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you believe. She said it is going to come off like little openings in your body because there's so many chakras. So I thought that was interesting as far as electrical chakra, all that stuff. Now, what is a meridian?
A meridian is a pathway. So chakras are like little tornadoes. They're vortexes and they spin in a
This and this way,
clockwise
yeah.
direction. Yes. And so meridians are more up and down flow throughout the body. So if you're standing up, they go vertical. And those are like if you do acupuncture using needles. And again, because we're electrical, those needles, it's just like connecting lightning rods, right, into your body.
Right.
And
Right.
it's connecting your circuits and re energizing your body using its own energy as well as the energy in the atmosphere.
So in meridians, are there as many meridians as there are chakras in the body?
I don't know as much about meridians. My 32 modalities that I've studied involve chakras.
Yeah, mine
So
too.
I'm not sure. I would guess there are tens of thousands of meridians as well because it, goes infinitely into other vessels and other vessels, and
Right.
other pathways, I should say, instead of vessels. But they're different systems, yet it's all tied together. So it's
So,
like
so what exactly inspired you to write this book?
I reached this point of burnout and actually walked away from a great executive career. I
Hmm.
gave away most of my things. I went and lived in the jungle for a few months and
Oh.
completely went away from connectivity from humankind for a while.
And what did
And
you do in the jungle? What did you do in the
I
jungle?
connected with animals, with nature. I journaled a lot. I'm not a journal type person. I would like write business articles or articles on electricity, things like that in a very logic and engineering path. I had not written for pleasure or with my personal energy types of work. And I was the type of person that, everyone can recognize to an extent, a perfectionist that, you suck it up. You don't show your emotions. Don't let them see you sweat.
Mm.
And had not even acknowledged this load over, and it wasn't just a year or two, it was like decades of holding in things. And I call it, I was shoulding all over myself. I should be able to control my work life. I should be able to heal my son. I should be able to fix my marriage. And so all of these shoulds in the book, I found the name of the should monster to depersonalize it, because I
Oh,
had this very conservative Southern Baptist upbringing that was, everything is bad and evil if it's not Southern
oh,
Baptist.
really? But were
Yes,
your parents very strongly Baptist or?
very strongly. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
so what do they think of you and your journey now?
They are respectful. We agree to disagree, but that and the things that my ideas are more pluralistic, based on energy, and they certainly support Christianity and Southern Baptist ways. So there's not a conflict. I see religion as one way
It
at
is
a
all
point in
energy.
history.
It is all
Yes.
energy, whether you believe it's God energy or angels or
Yes.
it's
Yes.
all, yes.
And
So let me ask you this because as you were speaking, I was beginning to put two and two together. If you were to define yourself as a personality or the common denominator of who you are, what would you say? Because you have this professionalism on one side and you've got the eccentric on the other. So what, and I say eccentric because probably to the professionals to run to the
yes,
jungle would kind of
sure.
seem a little eccentric,
Or
but
crazy.
they're crazy. And interestingly, yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
So
I made up a word in my book, and then after, Googling it, I figured out, there are little magazines named this and, other things, but energist is the word that I used in the
Energist.
book because there is no way to describe people that, and there are people like Sadhguru or Deepak Chopra that are teaching the same sorts of things, but there's no language to describe it. And so I asserted that these are all energists. It's a category of people that understand we're made of energy. And so if you can manage your own energy, translate that into everyday life, do you feel positive or negative? Think about our language. We use all these words like I'm enlightened. When you have a great idea, what shows up over your head? A light bulb. You know, I feel spun up. I feel disconnected. I feel connected. I could go on and on. And so it's this understanding that we are energetic. And by getting a handle on our own energy, we can stay positive more often. And so I call it being an energist, which has nothing to do with religion. It's not sacrilegious. It's just saying this is a school of thought that I think is going to become much more prevalent in the future.
Oh, I do too, because it seems to me as people are beginning to be more energistic,
Mm-hmm.
that the concept of, um, I'll put it this way. I was talking to my chiropractor, which when you get old is like one of those things you do once a month just to be in tune, like a piano or a guitar.
I get it.
And so she's a devoted Catholic, and she was asked her how she's going, and she said her daughter was going to communion, and I was telling her that that is beautiful. I myself had flunked catechism and been kicked out because I asked too many questions. Kind of frowned at me, and she says, "I see you're not a follower." And and
Aww.
at first I felt like, wait a minute. Now, what does that mean?
Is
I'm
that a
not.
compliment or a not
Yeah, yeah.
compliment?
It was, there's certain people that can say things like that, and you don't know, and you could take it however you want.
Yes.
But when you're a reader, you read into everything, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so I took it as, I see, then you probably would not follow Jesus. And I kind of stopped. I was getting off the table, and I said, "Now wait a minute." I said, "You need to understand something. I am extremely spiritual.
Hmm.
It's just I'm non-denominational."
Yeah, me too.
And that's the main difference that I feel is happening. People are not getting away from God. They're not getting away from morals. They're getting away from labels. Or
Hmm.
they're getting in, at least in religion. I mean, we can't say
Yeah.
that about politics. We
Yeah. Oh
can
boy.
say that many people are realizing you can be a moral person. You can
Hmm.
follow the best intentions of your heart, but you don't necessarily have to call yourself a label, which I
Hmm.
believe, when you look at the world, has created so many wars.
It has. It has.
And
The book
it,
Sapiens was a life changer for me. I was working
I
in
don't think I've read
Israel.
that.
And check it out. I talk about it in my book as one of those epiphany moments. I was working in Jerusalem on helping the Israeli government with green building and net zero building methodologies.
Awesome. Very
And
cool.
while there, I just had a million questions because I was so curious about the Muslim faith while I was there, the Christian faith, how everything was interwoven there in the old city. And it was beautiful. And there was such a strong energy there. It was just, I can't even describe how incredible it
Ancient.
was.
Ancient.
Yes. And being able to walk where Christ walked and see where he was
Right.
buried. And so one of the guys gave me the book, The Sapiens, and so I started reading it on the way to the airport and finished the whole thing right through. And what it does is it explains mankind and how, as we domesticated wheat, how as we started having these roles like husband, wife, that we started formalizing things. It also talked about like how Christianity, the Bible, the version that many of us use, that comes from King James, that was created. It was created at a time when Christians and pagans had been conquered together, and they needed to bring them together as a society. So
Oh,
Jesus' birthday, for example, is celebrated on the winter solstice, on the sun
right.
god holiday. He was
Right.
actually born in the spring, but if you
Right.
tell people that, it freaks them out and they think like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, you're
So what?
sacrilege."
Yeah.
But nobody takes the time to look at the roots of it. And Of course, it's a beautiful thing to celebrate Christ's birth once a year, but they don't realize the context of this was actually put together to help societies blend and mesh in a period of time. And so Sapiens does a good job of putting context to religion. And I think because people are seeking, the Bible says we're sheep looking for a shepherd. Because they're seeking, religion provides them that structure, and it feels good because you feel like you know what to do to please. And, that's because of the good heart and the good nature of people.
Would you say prayer and meditation are much alike?
Oh, yeah. Energetically, it's
Prayer,
focused
prayer,
energy.
prayer, meditation, and um, oh, oh, M word, manifesting. Prayer,
Manifesting.
yes, it's all so much alike.
And that's
I
why
think.
I say everything comes back to energy. So the Energist answer would be yes, it's all of them. It's focused energy. You can focus energy, whether you call it prayer, where I'm focusing on a specific need, whether you're focusing on meditation, where you're focusing on connecting to spirit, to source, or if you're focusing on manifestation, which is visualizing what you want. If you think about our body's physicality, there's a great book called Molecules of Emotion, and it's written by a very logical medical researcher. And it talks about things like if you're embarrassed, you experience the emotion first, and then your face turns red.
Right,
So
right.
your body reacts to your energy and how you're feeling first. And that again is, it's going through its energetic life cycle. And our physical
Yeah.
manifestation, so that's the manifestation part of that. I have Invisalign and it's really hard to talk now.
Oh, you know what? I just got done with it. I got done with it.
Whoa,
So,
I can't wait.
yep.
I feel like I'm lisping a lot.
Yeah, but I know I
So
was lisping. I couldn't read for my clients when I had my Visalign in. Yeah, but you're doing great.
well, thank you.
I did the nighttime only one, which ended up being a farce. You have to wear them all the
Oh, all
time.
the
Uh,
time. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Visalign, how did we get on that? Um, so my feeling is, and maybe we are having a Visalign moment, who knows? Maybe that's just another term for energy. I think that visually it all lines up because so many of these things are so much of the same caliber of energy and light. And yet, the hard part for so many people, I think, when they get stuck in a um, okay, I'm going to use my chiropractor's term, follower. As a
Yeah.
follower, we
Yeah.
follow the political figure we want to follow. We
Yeah.
follow the religion we want to follow. But so much of that time, it never gives us a chance to actually think about what we're following,
Mhm.
to really, as you say, feel it energetically,
Yeah.
whether it really truly resonates. And I think that, yeah, it all makes sense. So um, tell me one thing before we go on. How was the jungle?
It was incredible. I was raised by two elementary education teachers. And so they had
Ah,
always taught us that everything has a wonderful purpose. And so even things like snakes or scorpions, which I still am a little creeped out by, I still love them and appreciate them. And so being able to be in that environment where you experience so many wild animals that we don't have here in Nashville or in Kentucky, it was just like a Easter egg hunt every day of uncovering different plants and animals and nature. And by the time I left, I was interacting with the alpha monkey from the tribe in the jungle where I ran every day, with the bats that hung out where I was doing yoga. And, I learned
the
lessons from
backs,
all of
the
them.
backs, the backs.
Bats,
Oh, the
like,
bats,
yes.
BATS. Yeah.
Hmm.
Do you see any gorillas?
Oh, no, not there. They don't have them
Okay.
there where I was.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm fascinated with gorillas also. Um,
Yeah.
so as you had the sabbatical, which it sounds like it was a
Mhm.
spiritual sabbatical for you, what did you walk away with? What did you come away with?
It was interesting because I was seeking what is next for me, and I did a lot of prayer work there and talking to God in those moments of silence. And the question over and over was, "What do you want me to use my skills for next? What can I do to best support you? I don't care. I'll teach, I'll preach. What do you want me to do?" And surprisingly, I came away with, because I had spent the last 17 years in working with the energy and the environment, sustainability and speaking all over the world and getting people on board with how to, help the planet. And my strong message was work with people. You have to focus on people first. You need to reach people in their hearts and their minds and get the people to change first. And I was like, no, not the people. People are the hardest part. And so that was a big thing that was laid on my heart, is to focus on the people. And that's why I wrote the book, was to reach people in hopefully a different way that maybe a few more people will understand. You know what? We're all made of the same energy. We tend to focus on the paradigms we grow into, our different socioeconomic backgrounds, geographic backgrounds, religion, whatever those things are. We tend to focus on that, whereas at our core, we're all the same energy. And so it's that beautiful message that don't get distracted by all these differences. Realize we all are the same at our core, and we're the same with nature. So take care of that too. But you can tap into that energy and, that love and compassion to share.
How do you feel that COVID related to burnout and to the opening of the country? Do you feel any sense of how that, do you feel in any way? Sometimes I feel that COVID in itself was a way to shake mankind and make them come back to their senses. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think COVID itself, people said that COVID, the traumatic stress disorder coming from that, because it was not just one time, it's ongoing, it's unending seemingly, that it's creating a lot of trauma and ongoing trauma for us. And I would explain that energetically as, if you have a high vibe, or even at, even keel, and a low vibe is all around you. Uncertainty, fear are low vibe things. And what have we had during COVID? Low vibe fear, in the environment around us. So it literally pulls from you. It's the third law of thermodynamics. And so what's happening is your positivity is being drained if you're not protecting yourself. And I've worked with ER physicians, for example, on putting up invisible shields to protect
Oh,
yourself,
yeah.
because the
That's called
energetic.
blocking. I call that blocking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's very
people,
important.
they don't realize that their energetic attacks are totally real. They can feel them, but they can't see them. Like you can see someone coming at you with a big stick, but you can feel energetic attacks. And so it's recognizing that feeling and then going, oh, I should be protecting myself from that.
And how would you give someone instructions on how to do that again?
Yeah, so I call it a shield, is one way.
Yes, shielding, blocking. Yes.
And I make sure to distinguish, don't put up a barricade or a wall, because that's one of the things in the book I talk about. I built this wall around my emotions, around my heart. So my love couldn't get out, other love couldn't get in, but I was protecting myself. And so barricades are good if you want to stand still, right? You barricade a castle or something that's going to stay put. But if you want to keep moving in life, if you want to keep progressing, you better take a shield instead, because that's what warriors take with them, and they use it only as needed, and then you can put it
Yes.
away.
Ah, I like that. So, as do you consider yourself to be an intuitive as well?
I do, and it's interesting playing like the piano as a little kid. I think was my first experience about the age of 4. I sat down and started playing the hymns from church, and I'm
Oh,
like, I wasn't thinking that, but other people are like, "Where's that come from?" You know. And still
oh,
today, if I hear a song in my head, I can play it on the keys, and so it's that intuition, just like letting spirit take over. And so, performing a lot as a little kid of Southern gospel in churches was such a joy
wow.
for me. But if I stopped to think about it, I would just mess it up.
Right. And so isn't that the same way as a reader,
Yes.
professional reader? I have to go neutral. I have
Hmm.
to actually shut off my intellect or my in that part of me that wants to analyze. I have to turn that off, because the minute
Yes.
that I start analyzing what comes through me, then I immediately shut off. I
Absolutely.
become so that is so important. And yet so many of us are guilty of over analyzing all the time.
It's
You know,
hard. It's not
no,
easy to do. It takes years and years of practice and working with people energetically. Even if you think about the assessment, a pendulum or something that you're assessing a chakra with, you can impact the effect of it.
right?
And it's
And and
about
and I
getting
and
in
I
sync.
and I especially notice that, like if I'm going to Walmart or something like that, and I'm in a great mood, and I start smiling at people, and they smile back, and then that one person looks at you like, go to hell. And it's like all of a sudden there is an emotional attack,
Hmm.
and you can actually feel, I can feel myself shrinking like a flower that just lost water,
Yes.
and it's so strange how if a little bit of analyzing of, oh my gosh, I'm coming off this way, or I'm coming off that way, or I'm going to say that with Facebook.
Hmm.
So many people are so lost on how many likes did I get?
Yeah.
How many how many and Facebook will be quick to tell you, almost like your analytical brain, gee, you're not doing very well. Your
Yeah.
post is not getting such and such percentage of, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, you are now becoming my worst enemy. You're
Yeah.
becoming
And
an analytical voice that's saying you're not good enough.
yeah,
And it's like,
that's the should monster
yeah, the should
speaking to you.
monster. Yes.
You're shooting on yourself, Anne Marie. Stop it.
Well, when you said that the first time, I thought that's what you said. So I'm shooting myself. Right. Yeah. Well, that's hard not to should yourself. It
It
really
is.
is.
And you know, when you describe it in that way, those energetic attacks, like when people frown at you or give you that look like pound sand, they're giving you like little stabs in your energetic field, you know, and you can feel it. You can feel it. And so protecting yourself from that. And when, as an intuitive, and mine is not developed anywhere near where yours is, but in working
Oh,
with different people, it's completely different. Sometimes they are pulling hard, and I have to protect my energy, my vibe, because they're pulling from it. Other times I'm in resonance with the person I'm working with, and I will get names, visions, you know, things. It's much easier. It just flows very fast. And it's about the resonance when combined with theirs. You know, that's my experience of it. I don't know if you have had a similar experience, but definitely who
well,
you're working
I
with
was,
is.
you said you're married.
No, I was married for 21 years.
Okay. Okay. I was going to ask you, as a spiritualist, so many times I hear spiritualists that develop in their I don't know, evolution, their path, find that suddenly their marriages fall apart.
Mm,
And I would say that that is different than people that often are of the same religion and go to
mhm,
church together, because in religion it encourages you to find someone of the same faith
Mm-hmm.
so that you can grow together.
Yeah.
That is one beautiful thing about religion.
Yeah.
But as a spiritualist, sometimes it's a lonely journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's a, and I believe, and I say it's a lonely journey because I believe Jesus was basically a loner. I believe Buddha was basically a loner, and they had followings, but
Mm-hmm.
they were basically walked their own path as teachers and as
Mm-hmm.
holy men. But I feel that being once you get into spirituality, if you married your partner before you really got into it, two things can happen. That partner will either look at you and say, "Oh my God, what have I got on my hands?" Or they're going to say, she's got something there. Because I know that with my own husband,
Mm-hmm.
he is my opposite in every
Mm-hmm.
way,
Uh-huh.
but he now has premonitions. He now has uh, experiences from the other side. He is growing without his permission.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. That's
happening without
great.
him wanting. Well, but I don't think he thinks so. But
Oh,
I think
no.
that allowing the energy of a spiritual, psychic,
Mm-hmm.
intuitive has somehow created a vortex for him
Yeah.
in which he's gotten drawn into it. and
You may
and I
well
think,
have.
yep. And so when you said something about being in the jungle with animals,
Mm-hmm.
he is a loner that loves animals more than people because animals do not judge.
I so understand that. I totally
And
understand that.
so and so the one common denominator that we have together is we're rescuers of animals.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 13 cats and two giant dogs. Our inn is full. But the thing is, it is the common denominator of the soul journey of helping, assisting those in need,
Yeah.
that are broken, that are sad, that are homeless, that have given us a common denominator as vital and as important as the church.
Yes. And it's interesting when you say that, it reminds me of this study where they had a photo of a jungle and there was a tiger in the jungle. And if you ask people in the Far East, show them this photo and ask them, what is this? They will say, it's a jungle. And some of them will say, it's a jungle with a tiger in it. If you ask an American what it is, they will say, it's a tiger. And so we have become so laser focused on give it to me in a sound bite right now. What's in it for me? What's the key message? Give me 3 bullets and no more. And we forget about the context of the universe. We forget about the context of spirituality when we're myopically focused on a religion or a method or all of those things are great because they help people practice into what makes them feel good. But don't lose sight of the whole jungle, for the tiger.
Right. I like that. Well, Tabitha, do you have some tips to help our listeners feel reconnected and stay positive when they're in Walmart or when they're in other places?
So if you
We
want
have
to,
we have about we have about 5 minutes left in this interview, and I wanted to make sure that you let us know that important thing.
yeah, yeah. So to stay positive, the key thing to remember is, and I tell people, write these on sticky notes and put them around. Put them on your mirror when you get ready in the morning, or brush your teeth at night, or put them on the fridge because eventually you'll be going to the fridge. And
Yeah.
it's called high vibe activities. And I just made up that term, but it's basically when you feel happy. And by happy, high vibe, I mean when you're blowing out the candles on your birthday cake, when your team is taking the field at the big game, when a bride is walking down the aisle and you're happy about the wedding, then, that feeling that you get, that's a high vibe feeling. going on a date, the anticipation and joy of that, or a
Yeah.
holiday. Whatever you're doing, you can get that feeling by playing an instrument, by hiking. For me,
Mm,
it's being around animals. For you, it might be
mm.
playing golf. It might be reading a
No,
book.
let's play being with animals.
It's being with animals, taking a hot bath, whatever those things are, getting a massage, petting your cat. It doesn't have to be something complex. Just make a list of those. And when you get that dagger from the person that doesn't smile back at you, or that gives you the nasty comment on your book or your video or your post, then remember to do one of those things. And when it does, we're going along, it's kind of like a thermostat in a house, right? You set the temperature, and sometimes it's colder outside and you have to raise the temperature, on your thermostat to heat it back
Exactly.
up. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, is do some of those activities to raise your vibes back up, and you'll feel better, especially with all the uncertainty around us and the political mess. And just try to do the things, tune out of the things that bring your vibe down and tune into the things that bring it up. It's very simple. Any of us can do it, and it doesn't cost you a dime.
To thine own self be true.
Yes.
Yep. And tell us about the cover of your book again, because I think it's awesome.
Well, thank you. The cover of my book has a owl on it, a horned owl, and in the book I kept asking for my spirit animal, and I would pray at night, what is my spirit animal? And thinking it would be some big tiger or puma, because I love them so much. And I kept being awakened at night by an owl outside. And I would get up and fuss at him and say, hey, you're going to disturb my puma dream. I'm trying to find my spirit animal here. And he kept waking me up. Finally, over time, a friend said, what's up with the owl out back? And I was like, oh, that is the answer. And so it was the owl. And the person that designed my cover did not know that story. She didn't know anything about it. She just said, I felt led to do an owl on your cover. You
Oh,
might not like
wow.
it, but here it is. And
Oh
there's
my
a photo
gosh.
of me walking through this transition in the jungle. And that's what I originally was going to use, but she put it
Oh,
in
I
the
love
owl's eye.
it.
And so in his eye, and that represents, our intuition lives within us, and
Inner
it's always
wisdom.
there. Yes.
Inner wisdom. Yeah. And that reminds me of something that I always tell my clients. Sometimes it's the things that we absolutely miss that would
Hmm.
really piss us off. That is the very thing our angels are directing and guiding us to.
Yeah.
And we don't want to hear it. We don't want to even pay attention to it. And it's like we're constantly getting that kick in the butt. And
Yeah.
it's so much of the time like your owl. Here it was telling you, telling you, telling you, your guides and angels telling you. And yes, it was definitely the most beautiful cover. I thank
Thank
you.
you
And you
so
did win
much.
and you won an award on it, right?
I won an award on the book, the Nautilus Award, and the book is about a series of animals, of totems that were messages for me, from snakes to scorpions to the owls and bats.
Oh gosh.
So that's why it's called Trust Your Animal Instincts, Recharge Your Life, and Ignite Your Power, because it's about tapping into that, but the animals were the messengers along the way.
Well, now why didn't we talk about that more? I mean, that is just
We can
amazing
talk
because
again.
yeah. So thank you so much, Tabitha. And I love your book and the way it looks. I haven't read it yet, but I really enjoyed talking to you. And
Thank you so much.
I like the fact that we brought in religion and spirituality and what were your shouldism? No, what did you
The
call it?
should monster.
The should monster, and what was the inner, what is the other word?
Energist.
Energist. So
Energist. Hmm.
energist, the should monster, and thank you. That was great. I
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
Good times.
Bye, Tabitha.
Bye.
Okay, Tabitha, thanks
Was,
so much for that.
was that
And I think
okay?
it'll, oh, it was awesome. I was
Good. Yay.
awesome. And I really love your cover.
Thank you.
And
I'm glad it speaks to you. That's
crying. I
awesome.
don't know why I'm crying.
Yay, because
So,
we're in sync.
yep, I do that a lot. All right,
Yeah.
baby. Well, take
Thank
care,
you.
and
You too.
I'm appreciative of all the background and all you did there, and um, have a great day.
You
I'll send
too.
you the recording and I'll send you the audio.
Thank
Okay.
you. Love and positivity coming your way.
Namaste.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye. And so